Far from Earth, hidden deep in the asteroid belt, something amazing was happening. Between the floating rocks and ice chunks, huge metal structures moved slowly through space. They did not look like normal space stations. They looked like floating cities built for one purpose: to build the impossible. Commander Yejin Choi stood on the bridge of the mobile construction platform, New Seoul. Through the big windows, she could see the most incredible sight in human history. The battleship, Indomitable, was taking shape piece by piece, day by day. "Status report," she said to her team. "Hull section 47 is complete," said engineer Bo-Ram Lee, looking at her computer screen. "We are starting on section 48 now." Yejin nodded. The ship was so big that they had to build it in pieces. Each piece was the size of a large building on Earth. When finished, the Indomitable would be longer than many human cities. Chief Engineer Hyun-Soo Kang walked onto the bridge. His clothes were dirty from working in the construction areas. "Commander," he said, "we have a problem with the gravity generators." "What kind of problem?" asked Yejin. "They work too well," said Hyun-Soo with a tired smile. "We set them to make Earth normal gravity inside the ship. But they are making the gravity stronger than we planned. The workers feel heavy when they go inside. Can you fix it? Dr. So-Young Park is working on it now. She says it will take 2 days. Yejin looked out the window again. Dr. So-Young Park was their smartest scientist. If anyone could fix the gravity problem, she could. "Good. What about the armor?" "The quantum fold armor is working perfectly," said Hyun-Soo. "Better than we hoped. Yesterday we tested it with a full-power laser blast. The laser just disappeared. The armor folded the energy away to somewhere else." "Where did it go?" "We do not know. Dr. Park thinks it went to another dimension. Or maybe it got spread out across space so thin that it became harmless." Commander Yejin Choi shook her head in wonder. 3 years ago, quantum fold armor was just an idea in Dr. Park's head. Now it was real, and it worked better than anyone dreamed. "Commander," called out Communications Officer Min Ji-han, "we have a message from Lieutenant Commander Min Ho-yoon. Priority level red." Yejin felt her stomach tighten. Red priority meant emergency. "Put him on screen." The main screen showed Min Ho's face. He looked worried and tired. Behind him, she could see he was on a space station somewhere. "Commander Choi," he said quickly, "I have bad news. My spy network reports that the Vextar Empire is planning something big. They call it the final cleansing." "What does that mean?" asked Yejin. "They want to destroy humanity before we become too strong. Admiral Kelnoth has convinced other alien leaders that humans are dangerous. He says we will attack them if we get powerful ships." Chief Engineer Hyun-Soo made an angry sound. "That is crazy. We have never attacked anyone who did not attack us first." "It does not matter what is true," said Min Ho from the screen. "What matters is what they believe. And they believe humans will be a threat in the future, so they want to stop us now." "How long do we have?" asked Commander Yejin. "My sources say 6 months, maybe less. They are gathering ships from all over their empire. It will be the biggest attack fleet ever assembled." The bridge became very quiet. Everyone was thinking the same thing. The Indomitable was not finished yet. They needed at least 4 more months to complete it, and they needed time to test it and train the crew. "Thank you for the warning," said Yejin. "Keep watching and tell us if anything changes." "I will. New Seoul out." The screen went dark. Chief Engineer Hyun-Soo looked at Commander Yejin. "Can we speed up construction?" he asked. "We are already working as fast as possible. Our people work 18 hours a day. If we push harder, they will make mistakes. Mistakes on this ship could kill everyone." "What about asking for help from Earth?" Yejin shook her head. "Earth is building the other 3 ships in this class. They cannot send more people. We have to do this ourselves." At that moment, the bridge doors opened. Admiral Taemin Park walked in, followed by a woman in a captain's uniform. She was tall and had calm, intelligent eyes. "Commander Choi," said the admiral, "I want you to meet Fleet Captain Eun Jung-nam. She will command the Indomitable when it is finished." Yejin shook hands with Captain Nam. Welcome to New Seoul, Captain. I hope you like what we are building for you. I have seen the plans, said Captain Nam. It is incredible. But I have also heard about the Vextar threat. Will we be ready? In time? Admiral Park nodded slowly. We will have to be ready. The question is not whether we can finish the ship. The question is whether we can make it work perfectly the first time we use it. What do you mean? Asked Captain Nam. We will not have time for long testing, explained the Admiral. We will finish the ship, do basic tests, and then we will have to fight. The first battle will be the real test. Chief Engineer Hyun-soo looked worried. Admiral, that is very dangerous. New technology always has problems. We need time to find the problems and fix them. I know, said Admiral Park, but we do not have that time. So we must build the ship perfectly from the beginning. Captain Nam walked to the big window. She looked out at the Indomitable. Even unfinished, it was the most beautiful ship she had ever seen. The hull was smooth and white, with blue lines of light running along its sides. Weapons that had never been built before stuck out from its surface like the spines of some great sea creature. How many people will crew this ship? She asked. 5,000, said Commander Yejin. We are training them on Earth right now. They will arrive here in 2 months. What about the AI system? Dr. Haewon Seo has been working on it for 2 years, said Admiral Park. The AI will help control the ship's systems. It can think faster than any human and react to danger in milliseconds. Captain Nam nodded. She had worked with AI systems before, but never anything this advanced. Can I see the weapon systems? Of course, said Chief Engineer Hyun-soo. But I must warn you, some of them are so new that we are not sure exactly how powerful they are. They took a small shuttle from New Seoul to the Indomitable. As they flew closer, Captain Nam could see how huge the ship really was. It was like flying toward a metal mountain that someone had shaped into a weapon. They landed in one of the ship's many shuttle bays. This one bay was bigger than most space stations. Their footsteps echoed as they walked through empty corridors that would soon be full of crew members. Here is the main weapons control room, said Hyun-soo, opening a heavy door. Inside was a room full of screens and control panels. Everything was new and clean, waiting for someone to use it. But what caught Captain Nam's attention was a large screen showing the ship's weapons systems. Gravity cannons, read Captain Nam from the screen. Phase torpedoes, stellar energy collector. What do these do? The gravity cannons create small black holes, explained Hyun-soo. They suck in enemy ships and destroy them completely. Black holes? Captain Nam felt her mouth open in surprise. How is that possible? Dr. Park discovered how to make very small ones that last only a few seconds. They are safe for us, but deadly for enemies. And the stellar energy collector? Admiral Park smiled. That is our secret weapon. The ship can draw power directly from the nearest star. The closer we are to a star, the stronger we become. Captain Nam was quiet for a long time. She was trying to understand what she was hearing. This ship was not just bigger than other ships. It was completely different. It used kinds of power and weapons that no one had ever seen before. Captain, said Admiral Park, I must ask you something important. Are you ready to command a ship that will change everything? Once we use this ship in battle, the galaxy will never be the same. Captain Nam looked around the weapons control room. She thought about the Vextar Empire coming to destroy humanity. She thought about all the aliens who had laughed at human dreams. Yes, she said firmly. I am ready. Outside, in the darkness of space, work continued on the impossible ship. Thousands of humans worked day and night, building humanity's future piece by piece. They did not know if they would finish in time, but they knew they had to try. The galaxy had called their dream impossible. Soon, they would learn that humans had a different definition of impossible. It meant not yet. The huge doors of the Galactic Council chamber opened with a soft hiss. Admiral Tae-min Park walked inside, his black uniform neat and clean. Behind him came Dr. Ji-woo Kim, carrying a small device that held their presentation. Captain Dong-hyun Lee followed them, his face serious and ready. The chamber was enormous. It could hold thousands of beings from different worlds. Today, it was full. Alien creatures of all shapes and sizes sat in their seats, watching the humans walk to the center stage. Some had blue skin and 4 arms. Others looked like giant insects with shining shells. A few had tentacles instead of hands. Taman looked around the room. He had been here before, but it still amazed him. The walls were made of crystal that changed colors. The ceiling showed stars and planets moving slowly above their heads. This was where the most powerful beings in the galaxy made decisions. "Humans of Earth," said a deep voice. It came from Chancellor Vrixtal, a tall creature with gray skin and large black eyes. "You have asked to speak to the council. What do you want?" Taman stepped forward. "Thank you, Chancellor. We come here today to ask for help. Our people want to build something new, something that will help protect our world and others." Laughter started somewhere in the room. It was quiet at first, then grew louder. Admiral Kelnoth of the Vextar Empire stood up. He was huge, with red skin and sharp teeth. "Humans always ask for help," he said with a mean smile. "What is it this time? More food? Better weapons?" "No," said Taman calmly. "We want to build a battleship." The laughter stopped. The room became very quiet. Then someone started laughing again, louder than before. Soon, half the room was laughing. Dr. Jiwoo Kim pressed a button on her device. A bright light appeared in front of them. It showed the shape of a huge ship floating in the air. The ship was long and wide, with many weapons on its sides. Numbers appeared next to it, showing how big it was. "This is our design," said Jiwoo. Her voice was steady, even though her hands shook a little. "We call it the Titan-class dreadnought. It will be 15 kilometers long." The laughter got even louder. Ambassador Zekthal, who looked like a giant bug with green eyes, clicked his mouth parts together. 15 kilometers, he said. "That is impossible. No ship can be that big." "Why not?" asked Captain Dong-hyun Lee. He had fought in many battles and did not like being laughed at. "Because it would break apart," shouted Admiral Kelnoth. "The biggest ship ever built was only 3 kilometers long. And that ship had problems. Your human science is too simple. You do not understand how to make big things stay together in space." Chancellor Vrixtal raised one of his long arms. The room became quiet again. "Show us more," he said to the humans. Jiwoo pressed another button. The ship image changed, showing the inside. "We have new armor," she said. "We call it quantum fold armor. It will protect the ship from any attack." More laughter filled the room. A creature with purple skin and no hair shook its head. "Quantum fold armor does not exist," it said. "We have been trying to make it for 1,000 years. Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. How can you make something we cannot?" "We also have new weapons," continued Jiwoo, ignoring the laughter. "Stellar core weaponry that uses the power of stars." Now even Chancellor Vrixtal was smiling. "Stars? You want to put star power in your ship? Child, stars are bigger than your entire planet. You cannot put that power in a ship." Admiral Kelnoth stood up again. His red face was angry now. "This is stupid," he said loudly. "Humans, you waste our time with impossible dreams. You want to build the biggest ship in the galaxy, but you cannot even build a proper fighter plane." "Our fighters work fine," said Captain Dong-hyun Lee, his voice getting hard. "Your fighters are toys," laughed Kelnoth, "made of metal and fire. Our ships use gravity control and quantum shields. Your weapons cannot even scratch our armor." Ambassador Zekthul clicked his mouth again. "The humans do not understand real technology," he said. "They still use explosion engines to fly. They have no gravity manipulation, no quantum field generators, no space-time folders. How can they build this dream ship?" Chancellor Vrixtal looked at the floating image of the human battleship. "Even if you could build this ship," he said slowly, "where would you get the materials? The metal alone would cost more than your entire planet makes in 10 years. "We have found new ways to get materials," said Taman Park. "We do not need to buy everything from other worlds." This made the aliens laugh even harder. A creature with blue tentacles waved them in the air. "New ways?" it said. "There are only 3 ways to get shipbuilding materials. You mine them, you buy them, or you steal them. Humans are too weak to steal from us, too poor to buy from us. And your little planet does not have enough metals for a ship this big. Dr. Jiwoo Kim looked around the room. Every alien face showed the same thing. They thought humans were stupid. We have been working on this project for 5 years, she said. We have solved the problems you think cannot be solved. Impossible, shouted Admiral Kelnoth. You do not have the science knowledge. You do not have the tools. You do not have the experience. The biggest human ship we have seen is 200 meters long. Now you want to build something that is 15 kilometers? That is 75 times bigger. Chancellor Vrixtal nodded his large head. The Galactic Council has rules, he said. New species must prove they can build safe ships before we give them advanced materials. You have not proven this. What would we need to prove? Asked Admiral Taemin Park. Build a ship that is 1 kilometer long, said the Chancellor. Show us it can fly without breaking. Show us it can fight without exploding. Do this and we will talk about bigger ships. And if we build the ship we showed you today? Asked Captain Dong-hyun Lee. The room exploded with laughter again. Ambassador Zekthul had to wipe tears from his green eyes. If you build that ship, he said between laughs, I will eat my own eggs. Admiral Kelnoth slammed his big fist on his chair. If humans build a 15-kilometer battleship that actually works, he said loudly, I will give them my entire fleet. More aliens shouted, similar things. They promised to give humans their worlds, their treasures, their armies, all because they knew it was impossible. Chancellor Vrixtal raised his arm again. The Council has heard your request, he said officially. We vote now. All who think humans should get advanced materials for their battleship project, raise your hands. Not one hand went up, not one tentacle, not one claw. The room was full of aliens, but none of them voted to help humanity. All who think humans should stay with small shipbuilding, raise your hands. Every creature in the room raised something. Hands, tentacles, claws, wings. The vote was clear. The Council has decided, said Chancellor Vrixtal, humans will continue to build patrol ships and cargo vessels. No advanced materials will be given for battleship construction. This meeting is over. Admiral Taemin Park nodded slowly. Thank you for your time, he said politely, but his eyes were cold. The 3 humans walked toward the exit. Behind them, aliens were still laughing and talking about the silly human dreams. Some made jokes about humans trying to catch stars. Others laughed about quantum fold armor that would fold the ship into a pretzel. As they reached the door, Dr. Jiwoo Kim looked back at Admiral Taemin Park. Their eyes met for just a second. A small smile appeared on her face. The Admiral nodded once, very slightly. Captain Dong-hyun Lee saw this and felt confused. Why were they smiling? They had just been rejected by the entire galaxy. Their dream ship would never be built. Or would it? The doors closed behind them with the same soft hiss. Inside the chamber, aliens were still laughing. They had no idea that somewhere far away in a secret place among the asteroids, the impossible was already becoming real. The alarm bells rang throughout Earth's defense stations. Admiral Kelnoth's invasion fleet had arrived at the edge of the solar system. 200 Vextar warships moved in perfect formation, their red hulls gleaming like drops of blood against the black of space. On the bridge of his flagship Devastator, Admiral Kelnoth smiled with his sharp teeth. Finally, he said to his crew, today we finish what we started. Today we remove the human problem forever. His second-in-command, Commander Thekmal, looked at the scanner readings. Admiral, I see the human defense platforms, missile launchers and kinetic weapons just as expected. Nothing that can hurt our shields. Good, said Kelnoth. This will be easier than I thought. How long until we reach their planet? 6 hours at current speed. Excellent. Send a message to all ships. Tell them to prepare for total destruction of human military forces. Leave their cities alone for now. We will decide what to do with the survivors later. But Commander Thekmal was frowning at his scanner. Admiral, I am getting strange readings from the inner system. There is something large moving near the 3rd planet. How large? Very large, sir. But it cannot be right. The scanner says it is 15 kilometers long. Admiral Kelnoth laughed. Your scanner is broken. Humans do not have ships that big. Fix it. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Indomitable, Fleet Captain Yoon Jung Nam stood calmly at her command station. Around her, the bridge crew worked at their posts. The bridge was huge and filled with screens showing every part of space around them. Tactical report, she said quietly. Tactical Officer Da Yoon Shin looked up from her controls. Enemy fleet is holding at the system edge. 200 ships, all Vextar Empire design. They have heavy plasma cannons and quantum torpedoes. Navigation status? Navigation Commander Junsu Lim checked his instruments. We are in position, Captain. Cloaked and ready, they cannot see us. Fleet Captain Nam nodded. The Indomitable was hiding using its quantum fold cloak. To enemy scanners, they were invisible. But she could see everything the Vextar fleet was doing. Communications, open a channel to Earth Defense Command. Channel open, Captain. Admiral, Taemin Park appeared on the main screen. He was in the command center on Earth, surrounded by other officers. Captain Nam, are you ready? All systems are working perfectly, Admiral. The crew is at battle stations. We are ready to decloak on your order. Good. Remember, we want to give them a chance to leave peacefully first. Understood, sir. The screen changed to show Captain Dong Hyun Lee on his ship Soul's Pride. Behind him, 30 other human ships waited in formation. They were much smaller than the Indomitable, but they carried new weapons based on the same technology. Captain Lee, said Fleet Captain Nam. Are your ships ready? Ready and waiting, Captain. My crews are excited to test our new toys. Fleet Captain Nam smiled slightly. The new toys were scaled-down versions of the Indomitable's weapons. Each of Captain Lee's ships could probably defeat 5 Vextar vessels. Admiral Kelnoth is moving his fleet forward, reported Tactical Officer Da-un. They will reach Earth's outer defense zone in 1 hour. Then it is time, said Fleet Captain Nam. All hands prepare for decloak. Weapons Officer Wu Jin, power up all systems. Weapons Officer Wu Jin. Choi's hands moved quickly over his controls. Gravity cannons charging. Phase torpedoes loaded. Stellar energy collector is drawing power from the sun. We are at 40% capacity and rising. 40%? Asked Navigation Commander Junsu. That is more power than most space stations use in a year, and we are just getting started, said Wu Jin with a grin. On the Devastator, Commander Thekmol was still having problems with his scanner. Admiral, the readings are getting stronger. Something very large is definitely out there. Show me, said Admiral Kelnoth, walking over to the scanner station. The screen showed a fuzzy image of something huge. It was hard to see because of interference, but it looked like a ship. A very, very big ship. That is impossible, said Admiral Kelnoth. Humans do not have the technology to build something that size. It must be a space station. Sir, it is moving. Admiral Kelnoth stared at the screen. The fuzzy shape was indeed moving, and it was moving toward his fleet. Suddenly, space itself seemed to twist and bend. Reality folded like a piece of paper, and then unfolded again. Where there had been empty space a moment before, now there was a ship. But calling it a ship was like calling a mountain a rock. The Indomitable stretched 15 kilometers from front to back. Its white hull gleamed with blue energy lines. Weapons that had never been seen before covered its surface like the spines of some impossible sea creature. By all the gods, whispered Commander Thekmol. Admiral Kelnoth's mouth fell open. His sharp teeth clicked together as his jaw moved up and down, but no sound came out. On every Vextar ship, the same scene was happening. Alien crews stared at their screens in shock and fear. The thing they were looking at should not exist. Could not exist. But there it was. All Vextar vessels. Came a calm voice over the communication channels. This is Fleet Captain Yoon Jung Nam of the Terran Battleship Indomitable. You have entered Earth space without permission. You have 30 seconds to turn around and leave this system. Admiral Kelnoth found his voice. Impossible, he screamed into his communicator. That ship cannot be real. It is too big. It would collapse under its own weight. 25 seconds, said the calm voice. It is a trick, shouted Admiral Kelnoth. A hologram. Humans do not have the technology to build such a ship. 20 seconds. Commander Thekmol was reading his instruments with shaking hands. Admiral, I am scanning the ship now. It is real. It is solid. And, sir, the power readings. What about them? The ship is putting out more energy than our entire fleet combined, and it is still rising. 15 seconds. Admiral Kelnoth's red face turned even redder with anger. We did not come this far to be scared away by human tricks. All ships, open fire. Destroy that fake ship. 10 seconds. The Vextar fleet opened fire. 200 ships shot their most powerful weapons at the Indomitable. Plasma beams, quantum torpedoes, particle cannons, and gravity bombs streaked through space toward the huge human ship. 5 seconds. The weapons hit the Indomitable's quantum fold, armor. And then something amazing happened. The weapons just disappeared. The plasma beams folded away into other dimensions. The torpedoes hit the armor and were absorbed into folded space. The particle beams scattered across multiple realities. Time's up, said Fleet Captain Nam. On the Indomitable's bridge, she looked at her weapons officer. Wu Jin, return fire. Show them what impossible looks like. Weapons officer Wu Jin Choi pressed a single button. Gravity cannon firing. A beam of twisted space shot out from the Indomitable. It hit the Vextar ship Thunderstrike and created a small black hole right next to the ship's hull. The black hole lasted only 3 seconds, but that was enough. The Thunderstrike was pulled apart and crushed into nothing. Phase torpedoes away, said Wu Jin. 6 torpedoes appeared to fly normally, through space. But they were not normal torpedoes. They were made of folded spacetime. When they reached their targets, they did not hit the hull. They appeared inside the enemy ships and exploded from within. 3 more Vextar vessels were destroyed instantly. Stellar, energy beam, firing. A beam of pure starfire shot from the Indomitable. It was the concentrated power of the sun itself, focused into a weapon. The beam cut through a Vextar heavy cruiser like a hot knife through butter. In less than 30 seconds, 6 enemy ships were completely destroyed. On the Devastator, Admiral Kelnoth watched his ships die. His hands shook as he gripped his command chair. How is this possible? He whispered. Admiral, said Commander Thekmol, his voice full of fear. Their weapons are operating on principles we do not understand. Our shields cannot stop them. Our armor cannot protect us. But how? Humans are supposed to be primitive. They use chemical, rockets and metal bullets. Not anymore, sir. Admiral Kelnoth looked at the Indomitable on his screen. The huge ship had not even moved. It sat in space like a sleeping giant, and it had destroyed 6 of his best ships without effort. All ships, he said into his communicator. Retreat to minimum safe distance. Do not fire unless I give the order. Fleet Captain Nam's voice came over the communication channel again. Admiral Kelnoth, this is your final warning. Leave this system now or we will show you what our ship can really do. What you can really do? Admiral Kelnoth's voice cracked. You just destroyed 6 of my ships. That was at 15% power, said Fleet Captain Nam calmly. Would you like to see what happens at full power? Admiral Kelnoth looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at him, waiting for orders. He had come here to destroy humanity. Instead, he had found something that could destroy him. This is not over, he said finally. Yes, said Fleet Captain Nam. It is. The Indomitable began to move forward. 15 kilometers of impossible human engineering glided through space like a predator approaching its prey. And Admiral Kelnoth realized that everything had changed. The humans were no longer the prey. They were the hunters. Admiral Kelnoth stared at the Indomitable as it moved closer to his fleet. The huge human ship was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Its white hull caught the light from the sun and seemed to glow with inner power. Admiral, said Commander Thekmol, his voice shaking. What are your orders? Kelnoth did not answer right away. He was thinking about what Fleet Captain Nam had said. 15% power. His best ships had been destroyed by weapons running at only 15% of their strength. "Sir?" Thekmol asked again. "Signal the fleet," said Kelnoth finally. "All ships prepare to retreat, but do not run yet. I want to see what these humans can really do." On the bridge of the Indomitable, Fleet Captain Yoonjung Nam walked slowly around her command station. Her crew was ready for battle, but she was not in a hurry. The enemy fleet was trapped between her ship and Earth's defense platforms. They had nowhere to go. "Tactical report," she said calmly. "Enemy fleet is holding position," said Tactical Officer Da-un Shin. "They seem to be waiting for something." "Weapon status?" Weapons Officer Woo Jin Choi checked his screens. "All systems ready, Captain. Stellar energy collector is now at 60% capacity. If we get closer to the sun, we can reach 90%. Navigation. Set course for the inner system. Bring us closer to the sun." "Aye, Captain," said Navigation Commander Junsu Lim. The Indomitable began to move toward the center of the solar system. As it got closer to the sun, its power levels rose. Energy flowed through the ship's systems like water through a river. Admiral Kelnoth watched the human ship move. "What are they doing?" he asked. "They are getting closer to the star," said his science officer. "Sir, I am reading massive energy increases from their ship. They seem to be drawing power directly from the star itself." "That is impossible. So was a 15-kilometer battleship, sir. But here it is." Kelnoth felt cold fear in his stomach. If the humans could use star power, then his fleet had no chance at all. Stars contained more energy than entire star systems used in 1,000 years. "Admiral," said Fleet Captain Nam's voice over the communication channel, "you have seen a small demonstration of our weapons. Now I will show you what happens when we stop holding back." "Wait," shouted Kelnoth. "We can talk about this. There is no need for more fighting." "The time for talking was at the Galactic Council," said Fleet Captain Nam. "You chose to laugh instead. You chose to come here with weapons instead of words. Now you will see what human technology can really do." On the Indomitable, weapons officer, Woo Jin looked at his power readings. "Captain, we are now at 75% capacity. All weapon systems are fully charged." "Target the largest enemy ship," said Fleet Captain Nam. "The Devastator is targeted, Captain. Fire gravity cannon at full power." Woo Jin pressed the firing control. This time, the gravity cannon did not fire a small beam. Instead, it created a gravity well the size of a small moon. The invisible force reached out and grabbed Admiral Kelnoth's flagship. "Emergency power to engines," screamed Kelnoth. "Get us away from that thing." But it was too late. The Devastator was being pulled toward the artificial gravity well. The huge Vextar ship, 3 kilometers of the finest alien engineering, was helpless against the power of human science. "All ships," shouted Kelnoth into his communicator. "Fire everything at the human ship. Save the flagship." The remaining Vextar vessels opened fire with every weapon they had. The space between the fleets filled with energy beams and explosions. But when the weapons hit the Indomitable's quantum fold armor, they simply vanished into folded space. "Captain," said Woo Jin, "they are firing everything they have at us. Should I return fire?" "Not yet," said Fleet Captain Nam. "Let them see that their weapons cannot hurt us. Fear is a better teacher than pain." Admiral Kelnoth watched in horror as his most powerful weapons did nothing to the human ship. Plasma beams that could melt through mountain-sized asteroids just disappeared when they touched the Indomitable's hull. "Impossible," he shouted. "Nothing can stop that much firepower." "Sir," said his science officer, "I think I understand their armor. It is not stopping our weapons. It is sending them somewhere else." "Where?" "I do not know. Another dimension, maybe. Or spread out across space so thin that they become harmless." The gravity well released the Devastator, but the ship was badly damaged. Half of its hull was crushed and many systems were not working. "Now," said Fleet Captain Nam quietly, "show them the phase torpedoes." Woo Jin fired 12 phase torpedoes at once. The torpedoes flew toward different enemy ships. When they reached their targets, they did not explode against the hulls. They appeared inside the ship's engine rooms and exploded from within. 12. Vextar ships died in 12 bright flashes of light. Stellar energy beam, said Fleet Captain Nam. Wide dispersal pattern. This time the beam from the Indomitable was not focused on one target. Instead, it spread out like a fan of pure starfire. 20 enemy ships were caught in the beam. Their shields failed instantly. Their hulls melted like ice in a furnace. In less than 5 minutes, 38 Vextar ships had been destroyed. "Admiral," screamed Commander Thekmol, "we have lost. A quarter of our fleet, we must retreat." But Admiral Kelnoth was not listening. He was staring at the readings from his damaged sensors. "How much power is that ship using now?" he asked in a whisper. "According to our scans, about 20% of maximum capacity, sir." 20%. Kelnoth felt his legs become weak. If the human ship could destroy 40 ships while using only 20% of its power, what could it do at full strength? "This is Captain Dong Hyun Lee of the Soul's Pride," came a new voice over the communication channel. "Admiral Kelnoth, you are surrounded. Surrender now, and we will let you leave with your remaining ships." Kelnoth looked at his tactical display. The smaller human ships had appeared around his fleet. There were only 30 human vessels, but each one carried weapons based on the same impossible technology as the Indomitable. "Sir," said Thekmol, "what are your orders?" Admiral Kelnoth looked around his damaged bridge. Half of his crew was dead or wounded. His flagship was barely holding together, and the humans had done all of this while barely trying. "Signal all ships," he said quietly. "We surrender." "Sir?" "We surrender," shouted Kelnoth. "Signal the human fleet. Tell them we give up." On the Indomitable, Fleet Captain Nam received the surrender message. "Very well," she said. "Tell Admiral Kelnoth that he and his surviving ships will be escorted out of this system. If they ever return, we will not be so gentle." "Gentle?" asked Tactical Officer Dayun. "Captain, we destroyed 40 of their ships." "Yes," said Fleety. Captain Nam with a small smile. "And we used less than a quarter of our power to do it. That was gentle." The surviving Vextar ships, less than half of the original fleet, began to retreat. As they flew away, every alien crew member was thinking the same thing. The humans had built the impossible. They had created weapons that used the power of stars. They had armor that could not be broken. Everything had changed. Admiral Kelnoth sat in his damaged command chair and watched Earth grow smaller on his screen. The planet looked peaceful and blue, nothing like the world of monsters he had expected to find. "Commander Thekmol," he said finally. "Yes, sir. When we reach home, send a message to all Vextar worlds. Tell them that humanity is no longer a minor species. They are a major power now." "What should we say about their technology?" Kelnoth thought for a moment. "Tell them the truth. Tell them that humans have learned to use the power of stars. Tell them that human ships are protected by armor that cannot be broken. Tell them that everything we thought we knew about warfare is now useless. And what about the other alien species? Should we warn them?" "Warning will not help," said Kelnoth sadly. "The galaxy belongs to the humans now. We just do not know it yet." Behind them, the Indomitable hung in space like a metal moon. Its weapons were powered down, but everyone knew they could be fired again at any moment. The ship was a promise and a threat at the same time. Humanity had built the impossible, and now the impossible would reshape the galaxy. 3 months after the Battle of Earth, the Galactic Council met again. But this time, everything was different. The great chamber that had once echoed with laughter at human dreams was now silent with fear and respect. Above the council world, 4 massive ships hung in orbit like metal gods. The Indomitable led the formation, flanked by her sister ships, Invictus, Sovereign, and Defiant. Each ship was 15 kilometers of impossible human engineering. Together they represented a new age in galactic history. Admiral Taemin Park walked into the council chamber, but he was not alone this time. Behind him came a full delegation of humans, scientists, diplomats and military officers. The aliens who had once laughed at human technology now stood up when the humans entered. "Honored beings of the galaxy," said Chancellor Vrixtal, his voice shaking slightly. "We welcome the representatives of Earth to this emergency session of the Galactic Council." Emergency session. Admiral Park smiled slightly at those words. 3 months ago, humanity had begged for a regular hearing. Now the entire galaxy called emergency meetings to discuss what humans might do next. "Thank you, Chancellor," said Admiral Park. "We appreciate the opportunity to address the Council again." Ambassador Yu Jin Moon stepped forward. She was a small woman with calm eyes, but every alien in the room knew she spoke for the most powerful military force in the galaxy. 3 months ago, she said clearly, this council voted that humans were too primitive to build large warships. You said our technology was too simple. You said our dreams were impossible. The chamber was completely quiet. No one laughed now. Today we return to discuss new agreements between humanity and the rest of the galaxy. But first, I think we should address what has changed. Ambassador Moon pressed a button on a small device. The air above the chamber filled with images from the Battle of Earth. The aliens watched their mighty fleets being destroyed by weapons they could not understand. Admiral Kelnoth, who was now sitting in the section reserved for defeated enemies, looked down at his hands. His red skin had lost its bright color. The proud Vextar warrior looked old and tired. "The Vextar Empire," continued Ambassador Moon, "came to our system with 200 warships. They left with fewer than 90. Those 90 ships carried a message back to their people. Humanity is no longer asking for permission." Chancellor Vrixtal cleared his throat nervously. "Ambassador Moon, we understand that much has changed. The Council is ready to discuss new treaties with your people." "What kind of treaties?" asked Admiral Park. "Full membership in the Galactic Council," said the Chancellor quickly. "Access to all trade routes. Recognition as a major power. Whatever humanity wants." Dr. Ji-Woo Kim, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. "What we want," she said, "is what we have always wanted. To be treated as equals. To have our ideas heard. To be allowed to reach for the stars." "Of course," said Chancellor Vrixtal. "No one doubts human capabilities now. But 3 months ago, you all doubted," said Dr. Kim. "You laughed at our plans. You said our battleships were impossible." New voice spoke from the alien section. It was Ambassador Zekthul, the insect-like being who had mocked humans so cruelly before. "Dr. Kim," he said quietly, "we were wrong. We did not understand what humans could do." "What did we do that was so special?" asked Dr. Kim. "We built ships. We developed new technology. We solved problems. These are not magical things." "But how?" asked Ambassador Zekthul. "Our best scientists have studied the wreckage from the battle. Your quantum fold armor uses principles we never discovered. Your gravity weapons work in ways we cannot copy. Your stellar energy collectors should be impossible." Dr. Kim smiled. "You keep using that word. Impossible. But nothing is impossible. Some things are just harder than others." "Explain," said Chancellor Vrixtal. "You assumed that the laws of physics were walls," said Dr. Kim. "We saw them as starting points. You tried to work within limits. We tried to find new ways around the limits." Admiral Kelnoth finally spoke. His voice was quiet and sad. "How long have you been planning this?" 5 years, said Admiral Park. "We started building the moment you rejected our first proposal." 5 years, repeated Kelnoth. "While we laughed at you, you were building weapons that could destroy us." "We were building defenses," corrected Admiral Park. "The weapons were only a side effect. We never planned to attack anyone. But when you came to destroy our world, we defended ourselves." Chancellor Vrixtal looked around the chamber. Every alien representative was thinking the same thing. If humans could build 4 impossible battleships in secret, what else might they be building? "What are humanity's terms for joining the galactic community?" he asked. Ambassador Moon activated her device again. This time it showed a list of human demands. First, she said, all trade restrictions on Earth are removed immediately. Second, humans get full voting rights in the Galactic Council. Third, the Vextar Empire will pay damages for their unprovoked attack. What damages? Asked Admiral Kelnoth. 3 star systems, said Ambassador Moon calmly. Of our choosing. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. 3 star systems was more territory than most species controlled in total. That is too much, protested a purple-skinned delegate. Is it? Asked Admiral Park. Admiral Kelnoth came to our system planning to commit genocide. He wanted to kill every human alive. What is the proper payment for attempting to destroy an entire species? The chamber became quiet again. When Admiral Park put it that way, 3 star systems seemed almost generous. The Vextar Empire agrees, said Admiral Kelnoth quietly. Everyone turned to stare at him in surprise. We will transfer ownership of 3 systems to humanity. It is better than what we deserved. Chancellor Vrixtel nodded slowly. The Council accepts humanity's terms. Welcome to the Galactic community as a full member. Thank you, said Ambassador Moon. But we have one more announcement. She pressed her device again. This time it showed a map of the galaxy with new routes marked in blue. Human exploration fleets are already moving beyond the known galaxy, she said. We are not content to share what exists. We plan to discover what lies beyond. Beyond? Asked Chancellor Vrixtal. You mean outside our galaxy? Among other things, said Dr. Kim, we have detected signals from neighboring galaxies. There is life out there, civilizations we have never met, wonders we have never imagined. And you plan to contact them? We plan to reach them, said Admiral Park. Our new ships can travel farther and faster than anything built before. The known galaxy is just the beginning. Up in orbit, Admiral Eun Jung Nam stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the Council world below. Her communications officer had been monitoring the meeting in the chamber. Admiral, said Communications Officer Hyo-jin Song, the Council session is ending. It sounds like everything went well. Good, said Admiral Nam. Signal the fleet. Prepare for departure. Where are we going, Admiral? Admiral Nam looked out at the stars. Somewhere among those points of light were worlds no human had ever seen. Technologies no species had ever imagined. Possibilities no one had ever dreamed. Everywhere, she said simply. The 4 human battleships began to move away from the Council world. Their quantum drives hummed with power drawn from distant stars. Their hulls gleamed with armor that folded space itself. Their weapons could remake the laws of physics. But most importantly, their crews carried something no alien species had ever understood. The human belief that impossible was just another word for not yet. In the Council chamber below, aliens watched the human ships disappear into hyperspace. Each being was thinking about the future. Some felt fear, some felt excitement. All of them knew that the galaxy would never be the same. What have we done? Whispered Ambassador Zekthul. Chancellor Vrixtel looked up at the stars where the human ships had vanished. We laughed at their dreams, he said quietly. So they made their dreams come true without us. Far away at the edge of the galaxy, Captain Dong-hyun Lee stood on the bridge of his exploration ship, New Horizon. Around him, his crew worked at stations filled with technology that had been impossible just 6 months ago. Captain, said his science officer, we are detecting structures in the void between galaxies. They appear to be artificial. Set course to investigate, said Captain Lee. Let's see what else the universe has to show us. The ship jumped to faster than light speed, carrying its human crew toward mysteries that would have terrified other species. But humans had learned something important in their short time among the stars. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and every single one of those wonders was waiting for someone brave enough to reach for the impossible. Behind them, the galaxy continued to spin in its ancient dance. But now it spun around a new center of power, a species that had taken the word impossible and made it into a promise. They were only human. And that, it turned out, was more than enough.